Greetings. I'm Esther Bluell, Tough Talk Coach. I thought I'd talk to you today about what it's like for you when somebody needs to vent. Kind of like a verbal storm, a flood of words, so to speak. And what I'm talking about today is that when it's not personal, so you're not the target of that verbal storm. So let's just think about that a little bit. First of all, you may want to fix the person, give them advice, tell them not to feel how they feel, tell them to change the subject. However, a person in an escalated state is not thinking clearly. They're generally intense, maybe noisy, maybe yelling, and they can't really hear you in that state, and they're going to need time to settle down a little bit, to kind of walk through it, kind of like boiling water, so that maybe they can talk later. So I'm going to offer you a couple of helpful hints about listening to a person who is needing and wanting to vent their emotions. So first of all, remember it's not about you. And the question for you really is, can you provide a safe place? Because if you can't, then you can't. And if you try to change them, interrupt them, tell them to stop, try to make them feel better, it's either going to make it worse and they may escalate, or they may completely shut down, and then they're sitting on all that toxic emotion. So if you can't do it, it's fine, but here are some tricks for how you can do it. So first of all, you want to notice and talk about their feelings. So for instance, notice if they're upset, or they're angry, or they're frustrated, or they're disappointed. Kind of pay attention, and then say more about that. Just tell them to say more about that. Again, you need to understand that boiling water takes time. So even if you turn off the gas under the boiling water, it takes a bit of time. So we're not talking about somebody being out of control, wildly venting. The idea is to help them kind of contain themselves so that they're not doing damage and making things worse. So here's a little trick. You want to look them in the eye, kind of like looking into the eye of a storm. And a trick is that you want to look at their left eye. And why is that? Because the left eye is connected to the right brain, the emotional brain. So that will help them be grounded a little bit and help them stabilize themselves a bit. And it will also help you, because then the negative emotions can kind of roll over you. They just kind of flow right over you. And so you won't get flooded like in a storm. And that will help you remain calm as well. So now they've been talking a bit, and you can offer your feedback. So for instance, you've been hearing some hot words like maybe liar, or you're not trustworthy, or you're a cheater, or something like that. So again, sounds like when you were called a liar, that was really upsetting, or when you thought he didn't trust you, that was really hurtful. So help me understand a little more. Now what will happen is when you do that, you've hit upon the hot words, and so if you have it right, the person will probably say more about that. And if you're not on target, the person will correct you and say, that's really not so much about the lying, it's really more about the fact that I was insulted. Whatever it is, you will get. You don't have to worry about getting it right. Then you need to listen again. Remember, the whole purpose of this is to encourage kind of the draining or the purging of the toxic emotions. And if you think about an infected wound, you kind of have to get the pus out, the infection out, before the healing can happen. So that's kind of what you're doing. And then finally, ask, what are you most concerned about, right? Because now you've heard a person talk. And the point of that is to get to the heart of the matter, help them focus, and to solve the right problem, because something's going to happen after this. So if you have listened well and they're trusting you, they'll tell you. And then you simply say, now I understand. Now I understand what really happened was that you were insulted and your feelings were hurt, that he thought that about you. So you restate your understanding, focusing on the priority, because the issues now have floated to the top. And then ask, so if I got that right? And again, you invite the person to clarify, to get kind of focused so that they can move forward with after whatever's happened. And then you simply say, how can I be helpful to you? And if the person wants to talk, they will. And if not, they won't. So I hope that's been helpful for you, and thank you for listening. As always, I invite you to visit the Tough Talk Coach website for blogs and other resources, and love to have you sign up for eTalk, which is the newsletter. And as always, I welcome your comments and suggestions. Thanks so much.